Hey, this is going to be a really short tutorial, I think. This is basically an email I got today from a Dogwaffle user, or perhaps somebody who might become a user, just asking, and here it is, Mika, asking how can I add image as a new layer from my own files, or can I? So yeah, of course you can. Let's go see how you can load an existing image as a new layer. It's really two things. It's two separate things. You load an image and then you decide where you want to place it. So where you want to place it, of course, means you need to open a layer. You can do that over here on the right side. Well, that's in my case with the sidebar, which could also be on the left side, that you can always have here in the layout, right? You can have the sidebar, the toolbar, sidebar on left or sidebar on right. Right, so regardless, you can go to add a new layer and add another one and add another one. So you can have a couple of layers here. No surprise there. But what you can also do, let me make this go down. So you have any of these layers, you can turn them invisible, you can add you can change the color, change the level of opacity, or the style at which it's being blended, the method of blending. Let's go and select the first one, the layer 0, and we load an image. So when you load an image, you can open an image. And alright, now these are AVI files, that's not an image. Let's go and go up one level, daily dose, and let's see if we have under cleaning blemishes. There's some images here. Now, when you load an image like this one, or let's go some other place. Turning heads. Do I have some heads? There you go. There's some images here. Alright, so there is one way to load an image is like this. You select it, right, and you click ouvrir or open, and this will replace the existing image. So obviously that's not what we want, because it takes away the entire stack of what shall we call it here? Of layers, right? So what we need is to find another way to load an image and have it not replace but simply add another layer. So what we can do is you can go to import and load to stored image. That would be a first step. First of all, load it into a stored image, right? So you select the image. Let's say we take another one. Let's say this one down here, or scroll down for some more there. I'm looking in the other direction. Yeah, take this one. So we have a stored image here. Happens to be in the same size. And what I'd like to do now is load that as a layer on top of the first one. Well, here we go. Let's go create a layer. There you go. And select the layer, right? Make sure you're not on the bottom one, but click the upper one here, the layer 1, and click on that. Now we have the second one on top. Now the thing is, it's not hiding or covering it up. It's not you can still see both, right? It's kind of transparent. The reason is it's multiplying. It's the default mode is multiply, and no, there is no opaque mode, at least not an automatic opaque mode. You could do opaque modes with blue screen, green screen, pink, magic pink, or drop magenta, and that sort of things. But it's a color scheme. It's a color keying. It's not an alpha channel based or opacity channel based transparency or opacity. So that's one thing to be aware of. And you can also still use the filter, for instance, here to adjust or transform this image. For instance, you could move it around, and as you do so, you can see that the layer above is being moved around. That's my currently selected layer here, and I can make it a little bit smaller or bigger. I can rotate it. All that stuff works, right? And you can have it in one layer. And then the other thing you can do is, instead of having the multiply mode, you could have it in screen mode, or in about 20 other types of modes. You can adjust the screen blending level. So for instance, you could say you want the subtractive and less subtractive, more subtractive, and that sort of thing. So you see the layers are there. You can certainly load an image into a layer, at least in two steps. Right? One is to first load it into a stored copy, and then the other step is to send it from there into whichever layer you have currently selected. So if you load another, if you create another, and another, and another one of those, any one of those, you can go, for instance, this one here, just click this. Boom, it's right in there. Right. And if you hide it, there you go, it's gone. And then go to another layer and say this one also needs it. Boom. So that's one thing. It's to see that you can select a layer and you can click any of the stored copies you may have of various images and have that go into the layer. But there are perhaps other ways. If you see here under import that you can load a stored image, you can load an image into a stored placeholder, which is what this thing here is. There may be some other ways to also work with this into your workflow. So there are a couple of other options here. Browse, batch browser, browse. Play with those a little bit. The general file converter has some options too, but again, it's not going to ask you into which layer you want it. What you need to do is to select that layer and then load something into it. And one way to do that is simply click that stored copy. You can also click on this little pull down menu here, this little arrow, and you can see some options there, for instance, to replace the image centered or scale it to fit if it's bigger than the original or the one that you have in the layer here. The layer size might be different from the image that you have stored. So there's a couple of different ways to work this. And one other way would be through the brush. So if you look at the brush, you have an open option there too. Not just in the file menu can you load things, but the brush, and then even of course the animation. If you have the Howler edition, you can load animations right there too, image sequences for instance. So one thing you can do is in the brush menu, a couple of things. You can go to the animator brush and load a sequence into a single brush, but that's a animated sequence, so multiple images stored into a single brush object. And there are some other options here you might want to look at as well. Let's go back up here at the top of the brush menu, and you'll see that you can open a image into an image file into the brush, and then you can store and manage the copy, or you can say store it as an image. So here again, once it's stored as an image, boom, you simply click this and it puts that into the current layer that you have selected here. Alright, so there are a couple of ways to do that. Let's see one more, which is to load an image into the brush. So let's go here to the brush menu, open, right, and select the image. Now let's see, maybe we'll need another image here to really start seeing something different. What image do we want? Game assets. Do we have any sort of images here? Yeah, there's a texture there with some dry mud. Let's use that. And so now we have this in the brush, right? That's what we did. We went to the brush menu, we opened an image file, could be BMP, PNG, JPEG, a couple of other formats, and it's now in the brush. And so you can change the opacity to make it fully opaque. There it is, there's my brush, and I can paint on that in the current layer. Choose another layer, paint on that. Oh, that one's invisible, won't see it until you turn it back on. There you go. It's not opaque though, it's not an opaque layer. It's a modify layer. And how do you modify? Well, by any of these methods here. Right, so hard light, whatever you want. I mean, there's so many different effects you can create with this. One thing that we'll do also is we'll take this brush that we have loaded and store and manage it. There it is. And another thing you can do is say take a shortcut to transferring that image into a stored image. There it is, store as image. And so that itself you could also go and place directly into a layer. In fact, if you were to hide this and hide this one and simply select this layer here, and you want this entire image to be replaced with this thing but kind of tiled all over, what you do is you go right there, click on this little pull down menu here. Instead of clicking here, which will only tile it once up there in the upper left corner, what you do is you click on here, and you go to not replace. That will get rid of all the stack of the layers here. We want to have it right up here, right? Paste image in the center. That's not it. Right? I mean, if I erase, you can say, you can see it here. Paste image, boom, in the upper left corner. Paste image in the center. Better, still not good enough though. So let's go paste image, scale to fit. Aha! Now we have the entire image scaled up to fit into the image, into the framework. And what you can also combine it in other ways here. You can set this to be multiply, subtract mode, and of course that will subtract it. There it gets very dark. So one thing we can do, we can load the image into the brush. From the brush, send it over to an image, and once it's in the image, all bets are open as to what you're going to do with it. Let's see, how else can we get an image into the a layer, loaded as a layer? Really, I mean, in general, you want to make sure that you have the layer allocated. You want to create a layer. It's going to have to be obviously the same dimensions as the existing first layer, layer 0. So go ahead and create this new layer, and then one more level that you have, instead of loading it directly into a stored image, where is that? Open, store and manage copy. Oh, here on the image. You can store image copy. You can, okay, so there's one more thing you can do, which is to load from the clipboard, right? If you have the image opened in, oh, I don't know, Irfan view or some other image viewer, and you Control C to copy that, you can then paste it into the clipboard, or you can copy it from the clipboard. I mean, there's a couple of different ways to get things around here. So you can paste it into, from the clipboard, you can paste it into a stored image right there, or you can paste into image. Right, so let's say, for instance, we go do this, right? We go to Irfan view here, and we go and open an image. And in this case, the image is going to be, let's see, turning heads. There it is. Right, so we have turning heads. Let's take that first one. So it's now inside of Irfan view, and what I'm going to do is simply copy that into the clipboard. So go copy, that's the cut, there's the copy right there. So I copied this entire image into the clipboard. Boom, I don't need this anymore. And what I can do is, given that it's in the clipboard, I can now paste it right into this image. This image happens to be the same dimensions as what I have in the clipboard. And so what I'll do is, under the image, clipboard, I can say paste new image, and bingo, there it is. Alright, so that's yet another way by which you can take an image that you have currently on file, but with the help of another application, get it into the clipboard, and from the clipboard directly load it into the current image. Now that means also really into the current layer. Let me open another layer here. Let me add another layer right there on top. And I'm going to still do, since that image still lives in the clipboard, I'm going to go here and paste this new image again. Oh no, wait, that actually creates a new image. Duh. Alright, so that will create a new image. It will get rid of the stack. So what we could do, let's see, create this. Let's go to this layer 1, and what else do we have? Clipboard, paste new image, paste into image. Ah, difference there. Paste new image will create a new image and paste the clipboard into it. Paste into image. Ta-da! Now we've got it. Look at that. Let's make this into a jumbo right here. Jumbo. There. Jumbo nails, thumbnails. So now we see, okay, we have an image here, we have an image here. Let's turn this one off. It makes it lighter because it is, of course, multiplied. So what is dark gets darker. What is bright stays about where it is. You can change the level of blending here, and you can change the type of blending. Linear burn, for instance. Yeah, why not? Let's go to darken pin light. have no idea what that does. Not a whole lot. Let's go to exclusion. Whoa, nice. Alright. So, Andy Warhol. Here we come. So, so we have two images here. And we go to another one and we say we need one more from the clipboard. Clipboard. Paste, no, not new image, paste into image, right? Now you can also paste it straight into a stored copy. And there it is. So here's a stored copy. And once you have it stored, all you got to do to place it into this additional number 3 layer here, just click it. Boom. And of course, you know, what you do with this here could be additive mode, subtractive. Let's do additive and adjust a little bit to that. So you see a lot of different ways here to work it. Each of those could still be transformed as well. So let's say we go to layer number 0 here at the bottom and we transform, let's see, spherize. There's a spherized dude here. Let's keep it like that. Then we go to this one. This one will move a little bit to the upper left. So let's go filter transform and transform again and move him up to the upper left. Rotate, probably don't need that. A reset would be nice here, but it doesn't matter. We can just use this. And so we have one layer here. And then let's go to the top layer. And I don't know what sort of transform we need on this one. Maybe artistic wet paint. There you go. So you see the wet paint coming down here. But we also need to make it a little bit more brighter, more visible, and then perhaps also transform one more time. Let's see, transform or shift. Alright. So we now have 3 images, 3 layers that are combined in different ways. And they all came from the clipboard into their respective layer one by one. So hopefully that shows that there are a couple of different ways to really get an image that you have on a file, get it into Dogwaffle through a couple of different ways, and get it into a layer of your choosing. Alright, well, this turned out to be a little bit longer than I thought it would, but that's it. Thanks for watching.